This is the ASICS Gel Nimbus, and in its 24th iteration, it's undergone a massive overhaul. But are these the right changes to reinvigorate the line? It's time to lace up the Nimbus 24 and take it for a run. .45 miles, 8 minutes, 19 seconds per mile, and 152 beats per minute today. Going for a mostly easy run with a couple of moderate miles in there so I could test the ASICS Nimbus 24. Now, before I give you my thoughts on this shoe, I do want to go over some disclosures. This is a pair of shoes that was sent to me by ASICS for the purpose of review. However, they're not paying me to make this video or to use the shoe, and they're not going to get a chance to preview any of my footage or my thoughts before you guys get a chance to see this video on YouTube. So with that disclosure out of the way, let's talk about the ASICS Nimbus 24. Let's get to the specs first. This is a 36 millimeter stack height shoe in the heel with a 10 millimeter drop, which I believe is pretty standard for the Nimbus line. This is my first time running in the Nimbus, so I don't have any prior Nimbuses to compare it against. But in that midsole, we've got a bunch of things going on here. Some of it old tech, some of it very new. Some of the old tech, some of the things that those Nimbus faithful are going to love seeing is that there's still gel in the heel. Although this year they say that the gel is supposed to be a little bit softer, not quite as dense. And there's gel in the forefoot, although you can't see the gel in the forefoot like you can see the gel in the heel. It's right under here, right underneath the pad of the foot. I think there's a little ringed shaped amount of gel that's in the forefoot. And then the main story for this year is that there is a brand new foam, FF Blast Plus. Although technically it's not the first ASICS shoe that had the FF Blast Plus treatment. It's a partial FF Blast Plus implementation in the Kinsei Blast that came out late last year, but that was a mixture of a bunch of different foams. This year we're getting just the FF Blast Plus, which is supposed to be a lighter foam and a bouncier foam than the FF Blast that we've all come to know and love in the Nova Blast. Now there's actually two layers of FF Blast Plus, and I believe this lighter blue layer is a little bit more dense than the very soft, very bouncy white layer on the bottom. And in between that, in addition to the gel in the back and the gel in the front, there is this Trusstic system, which is something that's been carried over from many prior Nimbuses in the past. Here you can kind of see it just peeking through on the side, on the medial side of the shoe. And what that Trusstic system does is it provides a lot of rigidity, so there's not a lot of torsional twisting to keep all this super squishy foam from getting too squirrely underfoot. On the outsole, there is now a move towards ASICS Light Rubber. This ASICS Light is different from the previous ASICS A Hard, the ASICS High Abrasion Rubber Plus that used to be in the shoe, in that it's supposed to be a little bit lighter, but also maintaining a high degree of durability, because ASICS knows and still values those people that are turning to the Nimbus because of its high degree of durability. Moving to the upper, there's an engineered mesh, which looks clean on this ASICS shoe. I'm really liking the design here. It's pretty stretchy and breathable, but for me, the really nice thing is this tongue. It's a knit material, and it's a very soft and a very stretchy knit material that is very comfortable. It is a material that feels really great in hand. It feels great on the foot. When you're running in it, the tongue moves with the foot and moves with the shoe really comfortably. I'm absolutely loving it. Then as we move towards the back, we're seeing a little bit more kind of traditional Nimbus design and technology in here. There is a decent amount of padding in the back. After all, this is a max cushion shoe. So there's a lot of padding back here. It's very comfortable, both in hand and on foot as well. And there is a substantial amount of armor inside an internal heel cup. Now, it doesn't come up very high, but the heel cup that is here extends really far down. So it kind of tracks this piping here that is part of the design of the upper. And so it comes really far forward and acts almost like not only a heel cup, but a heel cup plus guide rails kind of built into one. Now there's a lot of technology and a lot of stuff going into this shoe, and while the shoe is substantially lighter than last year's, it still comes in at a weight of 10.2 ounces, which for a daily trainer is a bit on the heavy side, but for a max cushion shoe, is actually fairly light. So what has it been like to run in this shoe? The FF Blast Plus is a real delight. I just think that this shoe is so comfortable. The step-in comfort is real. It is there. It's one of the most comfortable shoes that I've put my feet in a very long time. There's also an ortholite insole in here that further enhances that comfort sensation, and just walking around in this shoe is really good. I feel like this is going to be an extremely popular walking shoe because like I just don't think I've felt a much more comfortable walking shoe. And because of the way that they're able to save weight with this FF Blast Plus, it makes it a very light and not clunky comfortable walking shoe. Those are the two things that are really hard to kind of put together. So walking around, step-in comfort, amazing. And it stays with you as you start running as well. So that's the good news. So that squishiness that you're getting in that FF Blast Plus, it stays with you as you start running and picking up the pace as well. There's that Trusstic system that's in there, which is basically a plate that's in the middle that helps it from compressing too much to either one side, depending on how you're landing in it. And that helps keep everything moving straight in a forward direction. But it's not so soft that you're bottoming out the foam or that you're getting stuck in something that's like quicksand. It bounces back at a really pleasant rate. It's not the snappiest of foams, but for something that's in this kind of max cushion, daily trainer, comfortable daily trainer category, I feel like the response is just the right amount in terms of its spring back. And in fact, just the overall running experience for me in this shoe is that it feels like a daily trainer. It doesn't feel like a cushion daily trainer. It doesn't feel like a max cushion shoe that can be used for daily training. This to me just feels like a daily trainer in terms of the running mechanics, but you are getting the benefits of max cushion without any of the drawbacks because the shoe is pretty light and the shoe is pretty nimble. Even had it on 2+ miles of moderate pace for today, picking it up to see how this shoe would do if I needed to throw in some faster paces, like if I'm doing a tempo run or a fartlek. And the shoe is very willing to get up to pace and stay there. And I think that's a testament to this FF Blast Plus foam. I'm a huge fan of the FF Blast Plus foam. I think it's absolutely fantastic. And then there's the tongue, which I think as you're running, you can feel the tongue kind of moving with the foot. It's not clamping your foot in it, but there's a lot of pleasant movement that's happening in a good way. And you still feel how comfortable it is even while you're running. So I'm absolutely loving it. And then there is a lot of comfort in the back. So when you are sliding your foot into this on those recovery days, you're going to have a nice, plush, comfortable area to kind of seat your heel in as you go for those long runs. Now, there's two kind of drawbacks I have with the shoe. One is like a non-drawback. The one kind of non-drawback from this shoe for me is that I think that this shoe doesn't love recovery paces. I haven't really enjoyed the shoe as much at slower paces. I find myself wanting to pick up the pace a little bit. I think part of that's because the foam is great. The other thing that I don't love about it, and I think this is a little bit of a bigger problem, but more for me and kind of like issues that I have going on with my feet, is that I don't really like the gel that's in the forefoot in this shoe, and I think I can feel it. I think that this very soft foam that's kind of carrying the gel is much softer than the gel that's in here. And so I feel like it's poking right in between, at least the way my foot hits the ground, and it doesn't hit always exactly straight. It kind of like rolls inward. I feel like it's poking me in between the pad of my big toe and my second toe. And so I feel it in there, and my run for today, I definitely felt it towards the end of those moderate paces in there. The first run, I've actually gone 3 runs in this shoe. The first run I ran in it, I didn't feel it at all. The run I did after the footage that you saw for today, I felt it a little bit, but not quite as much as I did on this particular day. So I don't know if that's going to be a break-in issue with the gel. I don't know if the gel changes over time. Like I said, this is my first Nimbus, and I think I've only run in maybe 1 or 2 other gel shoes before. I don't remember having that issue then. So I don't know that it's necessarily a problem with the shoe. It's probably more the shoe is exacerbating an issue that I'm having with my feet. I don't feel it at all in the left foot, and so in the left foot it feels great, and I wish my right foot felt more like my left foot. But I do want to mention that this is something that I have encountered on a couple of times with the shoe. So if that's something where sometimes with certain shoes you get some pains in the pads of your feet, this is one of the shoes that for me it kind of shows up sometimes. So I'm trying to really kind of drill down and figure out exactly what's causing it. But for me so far on this one, I think it's the gel that's in the front that I just don't love. It's not a huge problem. I'm still going to be running a lot of miles in this shoe because I think this shoe eats miles. It's a shoe that you can easily just put on, set it and forget it. One of those workhorse shoes that's going to be happy to rise to the task. I feel like for those of you who have always kind of like glossed over the Nimbus because it was like maybe it looked a little clunky, maybe it looked a little boring, this could be the time to come back and take a look at it because they've changed quite a bit in this shoe, and I think those changes are for the better. If you have any other questions about it, put them in the comments down below. I'd love to talk to you about them there, or better yet, stop by the live stream I do Monday through Friday right here on YouTube. I'd love to talk to you guys in the chat. Before I go, I want to talk about one more thing. For 2022, we're bringing back the Charity Runner of the Week, and this is the first week of January, and this week the Charity Runner is Autumn King. Autumn is a friend of mine, someone that I've interacted with on YouTube, both her and her husband Sean. They together operate the running apparel brand For the Run, and I've met them when they've come to Chicago. I've run into them in other cities, just going on runs and participating in races as well. And Autumn this year is going to be running the Chicago Marathon and raising money for the Alzheimer's Association. And this is a cause that is special to Autumn, and she's running this race and dedicating it to her grandmother. I'm happy to donate $100 of my own money to Autumn's cause. And if you guys can spare even a couple, I don't know what the minimum donation amount, but if you can spare a couple of bucks and help Autumn out, I think that'd be a fantastic thing to do. I haven't been able to do the Charity Runner of the Week for a while now, but I'm very excited to be bringing it back and showing everybody what we together can do for our own communities when we run together as a pack. That's all I have for today, everybody. Thanks so much for making it all the way to the end of the video. Hopefully you guys are staying safe out there on your runs, and I'll see you in the next one.
Yo, what's going on?